So good dilation, first of all, you're going to go to the level of the vessel that you saw in ultrasound and that you stuck with your needle. For a larger catheter especially, you probably should dilate the actual vessel, but not very much, just the wall. When you start going past that, you need to follow the vessel directly, or you might back wall it, so that gets risky. And you're going about the same angle. So you should remember how you were sticking, because that's the angle this wire is going at. So you got your dilator loaded on, you're going to advance down to the skin, your wires coming out the back. Now, the ergonomics here are going to be, you're going to grab your dilator overhand, not underhand, not like a pencil. It's really the only way that it works well. You're going to have to arrange your body so you're following the right angle here. And then to get into the skin, you may need to put a little counter traction against it with your other hand. If you grab down here with that hand, you can let go, yeah. And you may need little gauze to hold it, but just especially if the skin's very loose, and this is just to get into the skin. Depends how tight the skin is and how much you nicked it. You had a good skin nick. You're good. And then once you're in, you want to get a hand on there. And what I suggest is the entire time you're in, rack your wire back and forth. And if it moves freely, you know that you're following the right angle of it. If you feel that it doesn't withdraw, you're starting to kink the tip. And if you're doing that, you need to fix your angle before you kink it more, because a stiff dilator like this is a great opportunity to bend your wire, and then you'll never be able to get in. So your motion here is overhand, holding very, very, very close to the tip. Almost you could hold at the skin itself, because the skin will move. And with your overhand grip, you're pushing with firm, steady pressure, and you're slowly feeling it open up. People want to kind of bounce it like this, but the tissue has to, you're going to give it time to open up as the kind of fibers part. If you bounce it, the tissue moves with the dilator, and then you don't actually dilate. You have to move past the tissue to dilate. So you can feel, even if it's slow, the difference between no motion and it slowly sliding through. You keep your hand very close, because the dilator will bend if you come too far back. And as long as your wire is moving, you know you're going in the right track here, even if there is a lot of resistance. If there is a ton of resistance, what you can do, twist your dilator. And as you twist it, you see how you're kind of twisting the skin and loading it. Keep it there and withdraw it a little. You can give it a little continued twist in the same direction as you go. And it's kind of binding, and it's slightly tearing at that tissue, and it's opening up your hole. So if you've had a lot of resistance, you can do that little maneuver, and you'll get a little more space. So now when you re-advance, it should be a little looser. Of course, if you have a massive amount of resistance initially, your skin nick was not big enough. And that's a bad time to push too hard, because that's a great time to kink your wire. If you're not sure if you're deep enough, a good tip is if you see blood in the tip of your dilator, because that means your tip is intravascular at least, which again is about enough. You got any blood there?
No, not yet.
Okay. It's not absolutely reliable. You could also go by your depth, and for an IJ, you will almost never need to hub your dilator, so I think you're probably good. You will generally bleed. Yep. So cover that up. Perfect.